Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Omega and Greater Germanic Reich. So today I want to actually start by something a bit different, something that I've never did before, and that is speaking a bit about statistics. No, I'm kidding. I know I speak about statistics quite a lot, but you guys might not know that I'm a bit of a financial nerd. I like to look at the markets. I like to look at stocks and stuff like that. Finances are a big hobby for me, which led me to doing this. I actually created an Excel table with all of the stats of our subjects or puppets or whatever you want to call them, going back as far as January 67 and looking at how they have been growing. I'm gonna take you through the numbers now. If some of you aren't all that versed in statistics and growth, I'm gonna make it as clear as possible. So in these columns B, C, E, G, E, I, K, M, you can see the statistics as far as GDP goes for the various states. So for example, Ukraine had a 11.11 billion GDP in January 67, and in February 68 it had 11.45 billion, meaning that its total growth was 3.06%. You can also see the differences between the various save files that I've loaded up and check the statistics, so you can see how it was growing. I've also put in the conditional formatting that is showing what the on the scale of green, what the fastest growing markets were. So for example, between April and January 67, the fastest growing market was Leopoldo. Actually, I took it out of the stats and gave it its own formatting due to the fact that it's actually jumping insanely. I think that was scripted due to the fact that there was war going on previously, because it started with 1.27 billion and just a couple of months later it had 2.03 billion. So you can see that in this time Leopoldo actually grew by 114.961%, which is insane. It it more than doubled its starting GDP. But the other ones you can see are clear. So it's kind of interesting that Norway has been showing quite a steady growth, which I understand is coming from the fact that it rebelled and had all of those focuses that they went through. Plus, I think we also helped with some of our focuses. Poland was showing a pretty good growth, 6.14%, if you would like to use double digits. So 6.14%. What I'm kind of sad about is Ukraine, because I know that we've been investing in it and it really doesn't show. Its growth has been minuscule of 3.06%, which is not great. But I guess, starting with such a high GDP, it is still fairly good. Compared to some of the other states, it's not doing all that bad, and it's actually going to get to 12 billion fairly quickly. Netherlands has been also growing at a steady pace of 3%. Bloated Republic actually grew by 3.57%, and we didn't even have it in January, which is kind of interesting. I also found out, and I don't know when this happened, that Finland joined our Einheitspact. I think that happened after their lost war with Russia. So they've been growing by only 1.39%, but that is because they've been only in the Einheitspact for about 3 months now, so disregard that. What is also pretty interesting is that Caucasus has been growing real fast, from 3.99 billion in January 67 to 4.29 billion in February 68. So yeah, it's pretty good. And I was actually kind of surprised that Slovakia is one of the slowest growing ones, and it was actually succeeded in its place by Leopoldo that grew so fast. But we're going to see how fast it's going to grow in the upcoming months, because already here you can see that it stopped completely and then it started growing at something like 0.4%, while Slovakia has been growing at 0.76. So what should you take from all of this crud? Well, the important part is that everyone is growing. That's something that is really important for me, because I was wondering if there is someone who is stuck, or one of the states might be stuck and not growing, and that the tempo is actually pretty good in most of them. That is surprising, with the exception of Finland that we already spoke about. I think everyone is well above 2%. Well, Congo is at 0.5, but again, Congo has been with us for only a slight amount of time. But yeah, Congo has probably, looking at it right now, the slowest growth of everyone, which is understandable. Followed by Rusland, actually, 2.5, and Denmark also has only 2.15. Interesting. Well, last but not least, I actually also went and I looked at the total growth of the world GDP, which is kind of interesting, and the amount of our sphere of that, basically, how much are we? So we started at 16.3%, and we've been steadily growing, and the past two saves we had 17.6%. So that shows that our dominance is growing. I have to say that it's probably most likely due to Germany growing so rapidly, because we've been adding 3 billion consistently throughout the past year or two. So that is really making a difference. But the fact that everyone here is growing as well is pretty good too, because when you check it, they started with, okay, I need to put actually no, let's do it this way. So we had roughly 70 billion in all of our puppets together, and now about a year later we have 97.78 billion. So it's actually pretty good. That is a difference of nearly 26 billion. So I don't think that's bad. Anyway, sorry for that little jump into economics 101. I just really thought that would be interesting to some of you, because it did interest me. So, well, let me know if you enjoyed it. I might do something like that later on, and I might track it further. Anyway, as I was talking, we are growing really fast. The deficit is fine. Debt to GDP is 84.8%, but it's been steadily dropping, so that is also really good. We've been building a number of new ships. We're gonna start mothballing some of our older ships soon, and I actually think that what we might do is, after we're done with all of these hospitals, we might actually start building infrastructure in some of our nations, because infrastructure boosts GDP growth pretty nicely. And let me see, for us, can we see it here? Yeah, 0.016. Yep, 0.016 from 405 out of 570 possible infrastructure. So that means that basically we're multiplying the GDP growth by quite a lot, considering it's 1.13. Damn, actually that is a huge difference. Yeah, we should start building infrastructure in some of our nearby nations as well, especially places like Ukraine that has high GDP, and maybe even some places that have actually the fastest growing GDPs, because that would help them grow even faster. Well, we'll figure it out. For now, we're actually going to just continue with the stuff that we have been doing. Oh wow, we're actually overwhelmingly reformist now. Cool. I'm trying to solve the Wehrmacht problem too. So yeah, let's continue. Nearly 10 minutes of the video spent on speaking about economy. Oh great. That's how you know that I haven't been talking trash when I said that I really like finances. Only 776 tanks need to be upgraded to the Leopard A1R. Can we start using the ones in the stockpile? Nice! That will upgrade nearly 20 of them per day. Good. Counteractive measures. It had been over a week since the suicide of the assassin, Joseph Bachmann. A whole week of thinking, pondering and questioning occurring within the mind of Gerhard Wessel. The customary Schutzstaffel, lightning bolts, Gowon's quick assumption of the influence of the Ordensstaat, the lack of a proper investigation. Wessel, a skilled and experienced investigator, knew that the answer lied within the body, within Bachmann. And yet, every time he approached the idea, bureaucratic shifts of resources and reorganizing of priorities for the department swept up any attempt. The ever-recurring wall of smoke hit Wessel like a wave, only to calm back down and reveal the face of his ever-diligent superior. "Good evening, Herr Gowon," Wessel greeted. "The same to you, Wessel. Now, a late hour in the night, coming into my office. What's prickled your mind tonight?" Gowon responded. "Well, Herr Gowon, I just have some, issues in the Nuremberg investigation, but I believe I have a solution. You see, I understand your hypothesis. However, it appears too convenient, or even that we may have overlooked pieces attached to Bachmann that could lead further in any direction. Nevertheless, I believe a formal reinvestigation of Bachmann's body could allow for some, advances. Unfortunately, the proposal has been shut down due to other matters of the office becoming, randomly prioritized, and I believe we need to focus the investigation." Gowon said, squashing the cigar against the ashtray on his desk. Bachmann had clear ties to Burgundian authorities. It's as clear as day upon the man's very clothes. You wish to tell me that it could somehow be something completely different? We have many things to worry about in the R&D. Reopening a closed case is not one of them, Wessel, Gowon said frustratingly as he lit another cigar. Fury bore into Wessel's body. How could his superior, the man he has respected for so long, suddenly act so obstinately to his pleas? This wasn't right, not at all. Lifting his office phone, Wessel said, "Wedekind, Kessler, to my office, please." Thus a plan was hatched. A plan for the agents to break into the morgue to investigate Bachmann's corpse, pictures and all, and bring it all back to Wessel. Wessel could not allow whatever was plaguing the R&D to simply scurry away. This guy is dumb. He doesn't understand that they're trying to just frame the guy. Obviously, this is a conspiracy. Going very high as well, considering who is speaking about that. But, not much can be done with that. If you want to, try it out yourself. Damn, okay. 0.4% reduced in debt. Nice. And deficit is also dropping. As you can see, it's now only at 5.38%. So as we pull more people out of poverty, they pay more taxes. As our GDP grows, and we get more taxes. It is really good. It is really good. Okay, only one day and we'll solve the Wehrmacht problem. And we'll be able to start doing more stuff. So wait, how are we doing on the Navy? Cruisers will be coming in May, 3 of them actually. And destroy at 30th of March. 3rd of June 1968 will give us the next Adler class carrier. And this sub is coming on 10th of April. Okay, so we finished the Wehrmacht problem. And now we can choose which brand we are going to look at. I think we're going to start with looking seaward. I like the Prussian Glory and so on, because that's going to be great for us. Plus we get some of the generals here, which is amazing. Oh wow, but this actually leads to downsizing of the here. There would be an 80 division limit. And then a 65 division limit. Wow. And then 50. A truly national army. Encourage brutality. Well, this is gonna make it super efficient, but damn. Downsizing to 50 divisions. That's 4 armies, basically. I don't think that's a good idea. Wehrmacht reform outlook. Ready for modern warfare. The Führer's Wehrmacht. How can you become ready for modern warfare with 50 divisions? That is insane. Well, let's start looking seaward. The Kriegsmarine, the most neglected branch of the Wehrmacht by far. They have changed little since the Second World War. Their doctrine is still heavily focused on submarines, backed up with a decent-sized surface fleet. It was enough to carry us against the British, but we never would have stood a chance against the US Navy. Right now, the Kriegsmarine is impressive only in appearance. It is severely outclassed by our rivals and needs heavy investment to be useful again. How much, though? We could assume a global role, as the cabinet recommends, or we could assume a defensive stance and protect what we have left in Europe. No, we need a global role. That is where we should go. The new model army. To the people who had been looking at the victorious parade after the end of the last war, it must have seemed ludicrous to even think that the German military supremacy over the entire world could ever falter, even in 1,000 years. Sadly, as most things human, all it took was a couple decades. Without the threat of a powerful enemy, corruption and infighting began tearing the Wehrmacht apart in what historians would probably call a twisted parody of the late Roman Empire. Like the Roman generals they were so fond of, the highest German officers bought the loyalty of their men by promising hefty bonuses at the end of their service, siphoning the needed funds from the Reich's budget with the subtle threat of open revolt should anyone refuse them. As a result, the Wehrmacht bloated horrendously, eating more and more of the public expenses and contributing to the final collapse of the German economy. The increase in dimensions, however, didn't result in a better military. On the contrary, overloaded logistics, unfit recruits, outdated equipment, and fighting between officers turned what was once a jewel of efficiency into a wheezing sick patient, as the West Russian War showed perfectly. Now with the Civil War over, von Tresckow has planned a large reform of the German armed forces to return them to their former glory. The program will concern all of the Wehrmacht, from the Heer to the Luftwaffe to the Kriegsmarine. Everything will be turned upside down, until it fits his ideals once again. However, this won't be an easy task. Many officers of the old guard are still in active service and will try to resist the reform at all costs, especially if they are supported by the conservative elements of the NSDAP. It seems this battle will be far more political than expected. Well, I just want to clarify that I'm not against a small army. It's just that 50 divisions seems really low. Just our mechanized divisions are 24 divisions. Jesus. What you could always do, and that's a fun way how to go about it, is basically increase the template and just get to, combat it with, say, 40, and then you have twice as many. Well, you don't have twice as many. You have half a divisions, but about the same amount of divisions. But, no, sorry, I'm saying it wrong. You have half the amount of divisions, but you have about the same amount of troops in the field. How many do we have? We have 12, 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 full armies, so that's 120 divisions. And then we have additional defensive forces here, which is 4, 8, 11. So 131 divisions currently. And we got 3 production units. Let's put it at the military. Okay, we definitely need more guns. It might not seem that way. We definitely need more guns. So as I mentioned, like, I'm not against the downsizing. It's just that 50 division seems really low. But if this is where the game is taking us, then I guess that's the way we have to go. R&D research completed. RS-50 modified camera. 74.5. We're gonna go with token promises. That's not bad. And I thought we might start the investment into Poland, which is gonna... The Caucasian has been growing significantly. GDP growth increases by 2%. We haven't really been... The only one that we're investing in is Ukraine, and that one is not really doing all that good with that money. But again, that needs to go down before we start spending like crazy. Let's see, anything you guys can get. Truth serum, 30 million. Mission success and research speed. Expertise growth. Personal radio. Let's go with the truth serum. 30 million is fine. That shouldn't even... Yeah, that doesn't even... register on the radar. And now we can't read it anymore. God damn it. I forgot. Did you... Oh no, we can. Okay. No, I can't. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Let's then look at you guys, because there might be some... Okay, farm. Actually, we might want to start dismantling, for example, Siemens. Or Reichswerke. Timer bands. So let's look if we can find Reichswerke and take them down. Okay, farm and Reichswerke here. So seeds their assets. Middle class investment. Okay, farben. Okay, farben Preußen. Daimler Benz. Well, we can take them. Wow, Daimler Benz is at 20%. Veining. And middle class investment against Daimler Benz. Okay, well, we spend a bunch of things, but Daimler Benz is really close to being dismantled. Sailing through the stormy nights. Ever since the First World War, the Kriegsmarine has been the smallest of the three components of the Heer and the smallest navy among the world's superpowers. That is true, that's very historical. With the Reich focusing its doctrine on trade interdiction as the war became longer than expected, large and expensive capital ships such as the Bismarck were kept anchored, and the seas became the hunting ground for rabid packs of nimble, mass-produced U-boats. The British and American economies were crippled, paving the way for the Axis to win in the long run, and for Admiral Dönitz to cement his position as the Navy's helm. This is true until like 1941 or 42, when the Enigma codes were definitely broken, and then basically the U-boats were the ones hunted, because the Allies knew exactly where they're positioned and could just target them one by one. I think that was something like, and I'm not sure about the years, maybe it was 43, but if there was a huge jump between the casualties, there was like 10 subs killed in 1 year and like 150 next year. It was crazy what a difference it made. So basically then all of the subs were pulled back into ports because they were just dying en masse everywhere. It was really bad. During the following years of relative peace, the Kriegsmarine was mostly left to rot, and most of the navy funds were slowly siphoned towards the Heer. Well, that happened during the war as well. The West Russian War spelled even more cuts for the Navy, as the generals took more and more funds for their pet projects and to feed the bloated monster that was now the army. When the Civil War broke out, the Kriegsmarine sided with Bormann, but Dönitz decided to retreat to Crimea, realizing that no matter his allegiance, there was no way the Navy could do anything except getting either sunk or scuttled. Despite surviving the war almost untouched, however, the Kriegsmarine is in a dire state. Years of neglect have left the Navy small and obsolete, with most ships dating back to the last war. As things are, a total overhaul is needed in both doctrine and equipment to bring it back from the dead and turn it into a modern fleet. Well, we have been way ahead of your game, working on that for nearly 2 years now. Despite the resistance of admirals formerly close to Dönitz, von Tresckow knows a new and powerful Kriegsmarine is necessary if Germany is to return at the forefront of military innovations. Raise the flag, we sail towards the future. So, this is the thing, Fleet of Hegemony or global responsibilities. Well, no, we need the global responsibilities because this one gives bonus to the Green Water Navy, and we're not even doing the Green Water Navy. So, global responsibilities. The fierce idea of the Kriegsmarine acting in a purely defensive role has some merit, but is mistaken. Events of the past 2 decades have shown that the Reich cannot remain both isolated from the world and a superpower. We have the technology to surpass the megalomania of Hitler and the conservatism of the party. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, missile cruisers, these are the things we need, not aging battleships and obsolete U-boats. Definitely. To be a global player, we must accept the responsibilities that come with the status. Ironically, our ability to project power around the globe may help us to save face in the eyes of our old enemies. So, what we're gonna get? Wehrmacht Reform Outlook Indecisive, Wehrmacht Reform Outlook Light. Effective change, daily power gain is lowered. We get the Global Fleet, screen attack and defense increased by 5%, naval air attack from carriers increased by 1%, air targeting from carriers 1% bonus, and naval air agility from carriers increased by 1.5%. Increases minimal and maximum investment in Navy, and we get cost reduction for Blue Water Navy, and Reformists Outlook increases and benefits. Okay, that's gonna be a hit to our budget, unfortunately. But what can we do? Not much can be done about that. Propaganda campaign ended, and I don't think we actually need to do anything. We're already overwhelming with reformists, so I don't think there is much need to invest more money into that. We'll see if it changes or if it will continue to grow towards reformist on its own. But I'm pretty sure we might see some interesting stuff coming out of that. Okay, I think I can speed it up a bit. Yeah, Unternehmen against Ostland. Is anyone drawing anymore? You guys are still all too trained. Yeah, I don't think. Wait, I don't think they can train. They are over there, or did they just experience progress to next level? Are they growing? Are they completed green, or what's going on? Nope. They're not getting any progress done. So let's stop this, let them get the reinforcements they need. Yeah, they're definitely getting just... That's weird, I don't get it why they don't get... Is it because they don't have the equipment, maybe? Oh, and free production units, yet again. This time we get more. So that said, trains are fine. Artillery is fine. I think we might add this one to the anti-air, because that one will also need to be upgraded. Green stones lifted at last. 2 weeks had gone by, all according to Vessel's plan, before any meeting between the three conspirators of the intelligence department. Late at night, once Galen left early to attend his usual reservation at some Germania restaurant, and all that was left in the office was Vessel, Wedekind, Kessler, and enough illegally obtained information to have the three men locked away for the rest of their lives. With all the lights in the office shut off, and all windows shutter brought down against the night sky, the meeting began. Wedekind, Kessler, I respect your commitment to the cause we have put together. However, I wish you two to know the legal ramifications of all this. This could easily be what leads us to an early death in a Germania heavy containment facility. It will be more than... Stop. Okay, it's 1st of April. I'll be more than happy to allow you to leave and never speak of your involvement again. Do either of you wish to do this? With the men's eerie silence and a constant stares at Vessel, an understanding agreement was made, and the bag was unzipped to reveal the products of the break-in. Photos, documents, and physical evidence all spilled onto the table. Each of the photos revealed the harsh red marks upon the throat, with finger marks all up and down the assassin's throat, with rough scratches and blood trickling down the corpse. Meanwhile, the autopsy report provided even more suspicion regarding the case of death of Josef Bachmann. Of course he was murdered and framed, that is so obvious. The primary medical examiner involved in the autopsy of Bachmann had been Dr. Heinz Pfeffer, who had grown closer and closer to Reinhard Galen during his career in the R&D, which brought things closer to Galen, of course. However, the most damning piece of information dawned in the mind of Gerhard Wessel. Heinz Pfeffer had been in Kiev for a criminal autopsy. Someone forged these documents, Wessel said in shock. The two men nodded, Kessler burning through a cigarette in the meantime. Someone is throwing off this entire investigation, someone powerful. The question remained, however, should he intend to pursue whoever is throwing everything off, or would it just lead to their death? Follow the enemy in the ink. Follow Pfeffer, he knows what's going on. Let's follow Pfeffer. Okay, and we finished the global responsibilities, so now we can go with the sea snakes, or the Neue Hochseeflotte. Let's start with the Neue Hochseeflotte, and this is going to be the last thing we'll do in this episode, and in the next one we are going to continue. There are a few positive memories of Kaiser Wilhelm II in our nation today, but he had his virtues. Among those was his dedication to giving the Reich of his day a navy worth of its status. Though it cannot be denied that his personal ambition was the driving force behind his decision, the end goal was noble. Germany needed a fleet to defend herself against the overbearing British, French, and Russians. It was only fair that we be able to defend ourselves from seaborne threats. Oh dang, I forgot to pause it. Von Treschow has convinced the Führer that a return to the Kaiser's idea is not, in fact, a Prussian ploy, but a strategically sound decision. Building ships that can effectively operate half a world away will not be easy, but it is necessary. Carriers and missile cruisers will be the core of this new Hochseeflotte, with a strong cadre of technologically sophisticated destroyers to protect them from submerged and airborne threats. So we get a bonus for research of destroyer, cruiser, and carrier of 75%. Okay, we spend a bit of money. Our research facility societal development will begin to slowly improve. Okay, let's do that, and we finish the general building construction. And as it's 4th of May, we can now see that the debt to GDP has dropped to 84.2%. The euro deficit has unfortunately increased because the naval expenditure jumped up by about $1 billion. But it doesn't matter. With the growth of the GDP and the drop of the debt, we are still fine. We have about 5% more growth than we actually have in the deficit. So, cool. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.